Hello sports fans, it is Monday, November the 19th, the year 2012, and as usual, a lot to get to in the sports world, so let's get it going right now. You're going to have to excuse my voice. I've been very sick lately, so you're going to have to excuse my voice, really under the weather. Anyway, let's start in the NFL. Let's go to the Georgia Dome. The Atlanta Falcons beat the Arizona Cardinals 23-19. Atlanta goes to 9-1. Arizona drops to 4-6. Arizona's lost 6 in a row after starting off 4 in a row. Unbelievable collapse by Arizona. Atlanta won this game despite having 6 turnovers and despite Matt Ryan throwing 5 interceptions. This is a game that good teams win and bad teams find a way to lose. How in the world did Arizona lose this game when Atlanta turned the ball over 6 times? Unbelievable. Arizona couldn't move the ball from here to there. Atlanta kept giving Arizona chance after chance after chance, and Arizona could not capitalize. And I have no idea why Arizona changed quarterbacks in this game and went to their third-string quarterback, Lindley, early in this game. Skelton is Arizona's quarterback. He's filling in for Cobb. We know Cobb's not great. We know Skelton's not great. But Skelton was 2 for 7. It was early in the game. Arizona was winning, and all of a sudden they yank him out of the game. They bring in Lindley, the third-string quarterback who hasn't played. He goes 9 for 20 the rest of the game for 64 yards. Atlanta kept handing him the ball, and he could not do anything with it. Unbelievable that they went to the third-string quarterback. I have no idea what Arizona was thinking there. And Atlanta every week finds new and creative ways to win. They had no business winning this game, and they pull it out anyway. So Atlanta, like I said, they go to 9-1. Atlanta at Tampa Bay next week. Very interesting game. St. Louis at Arizona. Let's move on. Let's go to the Big D, Dallas. The Dallas Cowboys beat the Cleveland Browns 23-20 in overtime. The Cowboys go to 5-5. Huge win for Dallas. They're a game back of the Giants. Cleveland drops to 2-8. Cleveland has been playing better. They play hard. They just don't have a lot of, offensive weapons. They're falling short week after week, but they are playing hard. This is a game that Dallas rallied. Dallas scores 17 points in the fourth quarter rally. In the third quarter, Cleveland was actually winning this game 13-0, and Dallas didn't even have a point. Romo, decent game, 35 for 50, 313. He did have a big fumble late in the game that almost cost him. Cleveland actually scores late in the game with about a minute to go up 3 points. Dallas comes back and ties it with no time left. Dallas wins it in overtime. Like I said, huge win for Dallas. They had to have it. You'd like to see Dallas play a little better than this. They got the win, but you just want to see them play a complete game. It's like Dallas can never play a complete game. Even the games they win, they played bad here for most of 3 quarters. They played bad here. They do pull it out. They have a big Thanksgiving game against Washington. Big rivalry. Interesting game there. And Cleveland hosts Pittsburgh. That's an interesting game with Pittsburgh's problems at quarterback. We'll get to that later. So Dallas with a big win, 5-5. Cleveland goes to 2-8. Let's move on. Green Bay Packers beat the Detroit Lions 24-20. In Detroit, Green Bay goes to 7-3. Detroit drops to 4-6. Detroit 4 turnovers. Stafford 2 interceptions. He wasn't great. He had 2 huge overthrows. He had Johnson wide open a couple times, overthrew him both times. Green Bay 10 points in the fourth quarter. They rally. Green Bay's field goal kicker is a problem. He missed 2 more kicks. He is very, very inconsistent this year. And Green Bay is at the Giants next week. Interesting game. Houston plays Detroit. Detroit's season is basically over. They can't get out of their own way at 4-6. They're not going anywhere. They're in last place. They held the lead most of this game, but they just can't get it done. I mean, the defense actually played decently in this game, but Stafford was not great. Too many turnovers, and Detroit's another team that finds a way to lose all the time. Green Bay's hot. Green Bay's got some problems too. I don't like their offensive line. They got a lot of injuries, so I don't like some of the things I see from Green Bay. But they are hot. They are 7-3. They got to get some of these players back. A lot of injuries for Green Bay. All right, let's move on. Let's move on to Houston. The Houston Texans at home beat Jacksonville in overtime, 43-37 in a wild game. Jacksonville was winning this game in the fourth quarter, 34-20. Houston rallies to tie it. Jacksonville in overtime for some reason, with 2 minutes left in overtime, 4th and 10 around midfield. Jacksonville goes for it for some reason. They miss it. From there, Houston scores. They throw the pass to Andre Johnson. He takes it in the end zone. Andre Johnson, just a huge game. 14 catches, 273 yards. Schwab with a huge game. 527 yards passing and 5 touchdowns. Gabbert knocked out for Jacksonville. Henney comes in. He has a great game. 354 yards, 4 touchdowns. Blackman, the receiver, a great game. Houston, it's another case of a good team finds a way to win, a bad team finds a way to lose. Jacksonville could have easily won this game. They totally blew it at the end. Jacksonville drops to 1-9. Houston goes to 9-1. Didn't like what I saw from the Houston defense, but you got to give them an off week. They've been so good the whole year. But I didn't like what I saw from Houston's defense. They got to improve on that. So that's where we stand with that game. Let's move on. Let's go to Kansas City. The Cincinnati Bengals beat the Kansas City Chiefs 28-6. Cincinnati with an important win. They go to 5-5. Kansas City drops to 1-9. Castle bad. Quinn comes in. He's not good. I mean, Kansas City just a disgraceful year. Just they're a lost cause. There's nothing more I could say about them. I've been pounding them all year. There's nothing more I can say. They're just a complete disgrace. Cincinnati up and down this year. They were 3-1. Then they were 3-5. They've won 2 in a row. They're 5-5. They're back in it now. They have talent. Dalton to Green is a great combination. It was again this week. Cincinnati has talent. They are 5-5. Keep an eye on them. They play Oakland next week in Cincinnati. It's a very winnable game. They could go to 6-5. Denver at Kansas City. Good luck to the Chiefs there. All right, let's move on. Let's move on to St. Louis. The New York Jets beat St. Louis 27-13. Jets go up to 4-6. St. Louis drops to 3-6-1. The Rams, 3 turnovers. The Jets had none. Sanchez was pretty good. Bradford not great. I mean, Bradford threw the ball 44 times and only had 170 yards passing. I mean, think about that. 44 times he threw the ball for 170 yards. So the Jets do show some life. They get a win. Very disappointed by the Rams here. I mean, I don't expect much from the Rams, but they've been competitive in every game. They try hard every game. Didn't like what I saw this week from the Rams. They outplayed San Francisco last week and should have got a win. They got a tie. Didn't like what I saw from them here. So nice job by the Jets. They show some life finally. Rams take a little step backwards. Rams at Arizona next week. New England at Jets. That's the Thanksgiving night game, so we'll keep an eye on that. Let's move on. Let's go to Washington, D.C. The Redskins beat the hapless Eagles 31-6. Redskins go up to 4-6. Eagles dropped to 3-7. The Eagles have lost 6 in a row. They're a complete catastrophe. Andy Reid's going to be done. Griffin was spectacular for Washington. 14 out of 15, 4 touchdowns. Really nice game for him. Eagles, as usual, 3 turnovers. The rookie quarterback had 2 picks. I mean, not much more you can say about this game. Nice job by Washington. Eagles, I mean, they're totally done. I mean, the Eagles at this point, you'd be lucky if they're going to win a game the rest of the year the way they've been playing. Andy Reid's definitely gone. Who knows about Vic? Lost cause for Philadelphia. Washington, like I said, plays Dallas Thanksgiving Day. And Carolina plays Philly next Monday night. Oh, God, what a terrible Monday night that game is. In Philly, Carolina, Philly. Terrible game. All right, let's move on. Let's touch on the Thursday night game. The Buffalo Bills beat the Miami Dolphins 19-14. Buffalo goes to 4-6. Miami drops to 4-6. You know, it looks like Miami hit the wall here. They were playing so well for most of the season. They really did not look good in this game at all. The Buffalo defense finally played well. We were waiting for the Buffalo defense to finally take over a game, and they did in this game. Their front dominated the Miami offensive line. Tannehill struggled. No offense for Miami. Didn't like what I saw from the offensive line for the Dolphins. The Dolphins look like they hit the wall here. I think the future's bright for the Miami. I like Tannehill, but they've hit the wall for this season. They're 4-6. They host Seattle next week, Buffalo and Indianapolis. I still don't love Buffalo. They do get the win here. I still don't think they're going anywhere, Buffalo. I still don't love their defense, although it played well this week. I still don't love Fitzpatrick, but they do get the win. Let's move on. Let's move on to Carolina. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers in overtime beat Carolina 27-21. Tampa Bay with a huge win. They go to 6-4. And Carolina, with an awful loss, they go to 2-8, and it just has gone all wrong for Carolina this year. This was a strange game. Tampa Bay was up 10-0 early in this game, dominating the game. Then Freeman throws an interception. Carolina runs it back to make it 10-7. Then all of a sudden, Carolina dominates the rest of the game. They're up 21-10. Tampa kicks a field goal, makes it 21-13. And then at the end of the game, Freeman leads Tampa back. He has the big completion to Jackson. Great throw to Jackson to make it 21-19. Then another nice throw for the 2-point conversion to tie the game. Tampa gets the ball in overtime. Freeman right down the field with the Tampa offense. Freeman the clock, and Tampa Bay wins the game 27-21. A miraculous comeback by Tampa Bay, and an awful, awful loss by Carolina. They actually played better this week. Cam Newton was better, but again, Carolina loses. It's all gone wrong for Carolina, and what a job Schiano's done with Tampa Bay this year. 6-4, tremendous job. They're right in the hunt for the playoffs. Well, let's move on. Let's move on to Denver. The Denver Broncos at home beat San Diego 30-23. Denver goes up to 7-3. They're red hot. San Diego's finished there 4-6. Goodbye, Norv Turner. There's going to be a million changes to San Diego. They're officially done. The Norv Turner era is officially over. I mean, once again, the Denver defense played well. I mean, once again, Rivers not great. I mean, Manning again on top of his game. McGahee did get hurt in this game, so we want to keep an eye on that. You want to see what happened to McGahee. They should know later on today with the extent of his injury. You want to keep an eye on that. But this game, once again, Peyton Manning. I mean, Peyton Manning in the regular season, unbelievable, and Denver is on fire. They are a legitimate contender. They have a good defense. They have a great pass rush, and with Manning quarterback, that gives them a shot every week. Next week, Denver at Kansas City. Oh, brother. Baltimore at San Diego. I mean, so San Diego's season completely finished. Let's move on. Let's go on to New England. The New England Patriots at home just bury Indianapolis. New England 59. Yes, New England 59. Indianapolis 24. New England goes up to 7-3. Indianapolis drops to 6-4. Gronkowski breaks his arm, so we'll keep an eye on how long he's out for New England. The New England offense, tremendous. I mean, they scored every time they touched the ball. Luck, not great. 2 interceptions for him. Both run back for touchdowns. We know Indianapolis' MO. They're going to play good at home. They're not so great on the road, and we saw that here yesterday. Not so great by Indianapolis, but they still are 6-4. They're right in the playoff race, and they're going to play better at home. They always have a chance at home. On the road, they're a little shaky. I mean, they are playing a rookie quarterback. You can't expect too much from Indianapolis. Really nice performance by New England. They really needed this performance, and their offense was on fire. New England at the Jets on Thanksgiving night. Buffalo and Indianapolis next week. That's an important game for the Colts as far as the playoffs go. Let's move on. Let's move on to Oakland. The New Orleans Saints beat the Oakland Raiders 38-17. New Orleans goes to 5-5. They've rallied. Oakland 3-7. Oakland is a terrible defensive team. They've been giving up points left and right. Their defense is horrendous. I mean, Carson Palmer does what he can on offense, although he makes a lot of mistakes, a couple of turnovers for him yesterday. But the Oakland defense is atrocious. And let's give New Orleans credit. They're hot. Breeze has been playing well. Defense has been playing better. They've rallied now. New Orleans had a terrible start to the season. Plus the whole bounty thing, the suspensions. New Orleans has done a nice job, and I was on New Orleans early in the year. They've done a nice job here. They're 5-5. They're back in it. They host San Francisco in a huge game next week, and Oakland at Cincinnati. Oakland is going nowhere fast, and I don't know where Oakland goes. I mean, they have Carson Palmer, who's an older quarterback who's ready to win now. The team is not ready to win at all now. I mean, they have no defense. They have young receivers. Their running backs are always hurt. Complete mess as usual for Oakland, so their season is over. Let's move on to the Sunday night game. Let's go to Pittsburgh, where the Baltimore Ravens beat the Pittsburgh Steelers 13-10. Baltimore goes to 8-2. Pittsburgh drops to 6-4. I mean, we knew this was going to happen. Leftwich actually, on the first possession, takes the Steelers down and scores, and they go up 7-0. The Steelers couldn't move the ball after that from here to there. They just couldn't. I mean, Leftwich tries hard, but he just doesn't have it in him. And he got banged up early in this game, and it looks like he was laboring the whole game. He could barely throw. And it's funny, the Steelers defense played great in this game. Baltimore did not score an offensive touchdown. Baltimore's only touchdown was on a punt return. And we said coming into this game, if the Steelers were going to win, they were going to have to win the turnover battle. They didn't. The Steelers had 2 turnovers. Ravens had none. And the Steelers had to play better on special teams. They didn't. Baltimore's only touchdown was on a punt return. The Steelers hung in. Their defense played great. They just couldn't move the ball at all. Kind of like the Chief game on Monday night, but in that game they got the big turnover to win it. So a huge win for Baltimore as far as the division. They're 2 games up now. The Steelers need Roethlisberger back in a big way. Steelers will have trouble beating anyone with Leftwich at quarterback. It's just that simple. Tonight we have the big Monday night game, Chicago at San Francisco. It looks like Cutler is out. It looks like Alex Smith probably will play, so we'll keep an eye on that. Real quickly, let's go to the college football. I wanted to go to the college, touch on the college football because it was a wild week in the college football this week. Number 1, Kansas State shocked by Baylor 52-24. Baylor, who couldn't stop anyone this year, actually played decent on defense, and we know their offense could score, and they just blitzed Kansas State. So Kansas State out of the number 1 slot. And on top of that, number 2 Oregon at home in Eugene, where they never lose, loses to Stanford 17-14. This is an Oregon team that scores like 40, 50 points a game, and Stanford's defense played great. Give Stanford a tremendous amount of credit for winning this game. So great job by Stanford. So number 1 and number 2 lose. Number 3 Notre Dame wins 38-0 over Wake Forest. Notre Dame goes to number 1. Alabama, they cruise in their game against Western Carolina. I have no idea why they're playing Western Carolina this late in the year, but Alabama wins. They go up to number 2. Georgia beats Georgia Southern. That's another game. Why is Georgia playing Georgia Southern this late in the year? Georgia goes to number 3. So your top 3, you have Notre Dame 1, Alabama 2, Georgia 3. So right now, it looks like Notre Dame will play the winner of the Alabama-Georgia game. Now, there's still games to play. Notre Dame has to still beat USC out in USC. But remember, Barkley is hurt. He got hurt in the last game. He's not going to play in this game. So big break there for Notre Dame. Alabama, they have to play Auburn. Then they play Georgia in the SEC title game. Georgia plays Georgia Tech. Then they play Alabama in the SEC title game. So we still got some things to be decided. Ohio State, they stay undefeated. They beat Wisconsin in overtime, in Madison. So Ohio State is undefeated. They can't go anywhere. They're on probation, but we'll see if they can complete their undefeated season. They play Michigan in the game. They play them this week, so that's a very interesting game. Also, what else do we have? UCLA beat USC 38-28. Like I said, Barkley hurt. He won't play next week. UCLA 9-2, USC 7-4. Who would have ever thought that? UCLA, what a shocking 9-2 they are, and USC, who had national championship aspirations, 7-4, and they could possibly lose this week and go to 7-5. Unbelievable. So your rankings, like I said, Notre Dame 1, Alabama 2, Georgia 3, Florida 4, Oregon drops to 5, Kansas State drops to 6, LSU 7, Stanford all the way up to 8, Texas A&M 9, Florida State 10. So right now, if Notre Dame beats USC without Barkley quarterback, Notre Dame will play in the national title game. And they will play the winner of right now, Alabama-Georgia. Alabama has to beat Auburn and then beat Georgia in the SEC title game. Georgia has to beat Georgia Tech, and then they play Alabama. They have to beat them. So we still have a lot of football to be played here. There's a couple of weeks, still things to be decided. So it should be a wild ending to the college football season. All right, so that covers the college football. That covers the NFL. Like I said tonight, you have your Bears and your San Francisco 49ers. Should be an interesting game there with all, the quarterback injuries. You also have your NBA. You have your college football. This is a short week because it's Thanksgiving week. Tomorrow, Tuesday, I'm going to do my college picks and my NFL picks. I'm going to touch on the NBA. I'm going to do a little college basketball. We're going to go over everything tomorrow because it's a short week. It's going to be my last day this week, and then I'll be back with you the Monday after Thanksgiving. So you guys, thank you for hanging in there with me today with my voice. I'm really under the weather. I apologize. You guys stay safe. Enjoy the games tonight, and I will talk to you tomorrow, Tuesday. Take care.